Korean Mafia boss Daewon's command. "Where are you going dressed like that?" stopped Ugandan maid Stella 3 steps from his mansion door. And suddenly, the man who'd ignored her for 6 months was crowding her space, with eyes that devoured the red silk, clinging to her brown skin, accusing her of wearing a dress cut too low, demanding she take it off and cancel her plans like he had some right to control her body. What this broke immigrant doesn't know is that the dangerous boss has been obsessed with her since day one, noticing when she bends over, listening when she sings through walls, fantasizing about claiming what he's been denying himself. And now, his possessive confession and bruising touch will trap her between the job that sends money home to Uganda and a love affair that will make his psychotic ex-fiancée manufacture evidence of cheating. His traditional Korean mother threaten deportation, and his entire criminal family turn against the maid who made their untouchable boss finally vulnerable. The silk of the red dress whispered against Stella's brown skin as she checked herself one last time in the small mirror of her bedroom. After 6 months of cleaning marble floors and dusting expensive vases in this Baltimore mansion, tonight she was going out. Tonight she would feel like herself again, not just the invisible maid from Uganda who scrubbed toilets for a living. She grabbed her purse and headed down the grand staircase, her heels clicking against the marble. The house was supposed to be empty. Mr. Park had meetings on Friday nights. That's what she'd been told. "Stop!" The voice froze her 3 steps from the front door. Deep, commanding, with just a hint of an accent that made her stomach flip every single time she heard it. Stella turned slowly. Daewon Park stood at the entrance to his office, filling the doorway with his tall frame. His black suit was perfectly tailored, his dark hair styled back from his sharp features. But it was his eyes that caught her, those eyes that usually barely glanced her way when she brought his morning coffee. Right now, they were burning into her like hot coals. "Where are you going dressed like that?" Heat rushed to Stella's cheeks. The way he said it, like he had some right to know, like she belonged to him. "It's my night off, Mr. Park. I'm meeting friends." Friends. He moved toward her, each step deliberate and slow. "What friends? The ones who told you to wear a dress cut that low?" Stella's hand flew to her neckline. The dress wasn't even that revealing. She'd seen the women who visited this house wearing far less. "That's none of your business." "Everything in my house is my business." He was close now, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and clean that made her head spin. "I asked you a question. Where are you going?" "Dancing. There's a club downtown that plays Afrobeat music, and I haven't been out in months, and I don't need your permission." The words tumbled out faster than she intended. "You're my employer, not my father." Something flashed in his eyes. Anger? No, something else. Something dangerous. "Take it off." "Excuse me." Stella's heart hammered against her ribs. "The dress. Take it off. You're not going anywhere. You can't tell me what to do on my own time." But even as she protested, her body betrayed her. Her skin was tingling where his gaze touched. "This is crazy. You never even look at me during the day. I'm just the maid who brings your tea and washes your sheets. You think I don't look at you?" His voice dropped lower, more intimate. "You think I don't notice when you bend over to pick up something you dropped? When you reach for the high shelves and your shirt rides up? You think I don't hear you humming those songs while you clean?" Stella's breath caught. "Then why did you never say anything?" "Because you work for me. Because it's wrong. Because I've been trying to be a good man." He reached out and his fingers barely brushed her bare shoulder, but it felt like lightning. "But seeing you like this, knowing you're going to let other men look at you, touch you, dance with you, I can't be good anymore. Mr. Park. Daewon, say my name. This is insane. You're my boss. I need this job. I send money home to my family in Kampala every month. I'll double your salary, triple it. Just don't leave this house tonight." His thumb traced along her collarbone, and Stella thought her knees might give out. "Don't go let some stranger put his hands on what I've been dreaming about for 6 months." "You've been dreaming about me?" The question came out as a whisper. Instead of answering, Daewon closed the remaining distance between them. His hand slid into her hair, tilting her face up to his. "I've been going crazy. Every morning when you knock on my office door. Every afternoon when you bring lunch. Every night when I hear you in the room next to mine, separated by just one wall. I didn't know. You always seemed so cold. I had to be. Do you understand what I am? What I do? The world I live in?" His forehead touched hers. "You're too good for all of this. Too pure. Too beautiful. I told myself to leave you alone. And now? Now I don't care anymore." His lips hovered just above hers. "Tell me to stop. Tell me you want to leave and I'll call you a car. I'll never mention this again. We'll go back to pretending." Stella's mind screamed at her to run. This was her boss, a dangerous man, a man whose business associates looked like they could kill someone without blinking. Her visa was temporary. Her job was everything. This could destroy her whole life. But her body had different ideas. Her hands were already on his chest, feeling his heart pound as hard as hers. "I wore the dress for you," she admitted. "I hoped you would finally see me. Really see me." The confession broke whatever control he'd been holding on to. His mouth crashed down on hers, hungry and demanding. Stella gasped, and he took advantage, deepening the kiss until she forgot her own name. His hand spanned her waist, pulling her flush against him. She could feel every hard plane of his body through the thin silk of her dress. "This is wrong," she managed between kisses. "So wrong." "I know." He kissed down her neck, finding spots that made her moan. "We'll stop. Just one more minute." But minutes turned into more. He backed her against the staircase railing, his body caging hers in. Stella's fingers fumbled with his tie, loosening it, needing to feel his skin. When her hand slid under his shirt, he growled low in his throat. "Upstairs," he commanded. "My room. Now." "Wait." Stella pushed lightly on his chest, needing a moment to think. "If we do this, everything changes. I can't just be your maid anymore. I can't pretend." "Good. I'm done pretending." He lifted her easily, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her up the stairs. "I'm done watching you from across rooms, done lying awake at night imagining this." He kicked open the door to his bedroom. Stella had cleaned this room 100 times, but she'd never been in it like this. As someone wanted, desired. He set her down on the massive bed, and for a moment just looked at her, sprawled across his black silk sheets in her red dress. "You're so beautiful," he said, his voice rough with need. "So perfect. Tell me you want this too. Tell me I'm not alone in this madness." "You're not alone." Stella sat up, reaching for him. "I've wanted you since my first week here. When you helped me when I spilled tea all over your office, and you just laughed instead of firing me. I've been yours since then. I just didn't know you felt the same." That was all the permission he needed. He joined her on the bed, his hands everywhere at once. Learning her, claiming her. The red dress ended up on the floor, along with his suit. Skin against skin, they explored each other with the desperation of two people who'd been starving. "Tell me if I'm too rough," he whispered against her ear. "Tell me if you want me to slow down." "Don't slow down." Stella arched into his touch. "Don't stop." And he didn't. They came together in a rush of heat and need, months of tension exploding between them. Stella had never felt anything like it. He was demanding, but attentive, taking what he wanted while making sure she was right there with him. When she cried out his name, he kissed her deep, swallowing the sound. Afterward, they lay tangled in his sheets, breathing hard. The reality of what they'd just done started creeping in. Stella felt his body tense beside her. "What happens now?" she asked quietly. Daewon rolled to face her, his hand cupping her cheek. "Now everything is different. I meant what I said. I can't go back to before. I can't watch you clean my house and pretend I don't want to keep you in my bed. People will talk. Your family, your business partners. Let them talk." He kissed her softly this time, tender instead of desperate. "I'm the Park family's oldest son. I run operations in 3 states. I'm not afraid of gossip. But I'm just... don't." His finger pressed against her lips. "Don't say you're just anything. You're the woman who makes me laugh when I'm stressed, who leaves little notes in Korean on my desk, even though your handwriting is terrible, who sings in Luganda while folding laundry. You're everything." Stella felt tears sting her eyes. "This is crazy. We barely know each other. Then we'll learn. Stay with me tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure out the rest." She knew she should leave, should go back to her small room and pretend this never happened. But when he pulled her close, her head on his chest, his heartbeat steady in her ear, she couldn't make herself move. "Just tonight," she whispered. But they both knew it was a lie. This wasn't just one night. This was the beginning of something that would either save them both or destroy everything they'd ever known. And neither of them had the strength to walk away now. 3 months had passed since the night of the red dress, and Stella's life had become a beautiful secret. During the day, she moved through the mansion with her cleaning supplies, playing her role perfectly. At night, she slipped into Daewon's arms and discovered what it meant to be cherished. "You're getting better at sneaking," Daewon teased one evening, pulling her into his office after dinner. "Nobody even saw you come in here. Your sister almost caught me yesterday." Stella perched on the edge of his desk while he locked the door behind them. "Hyejin was in the hallway when I was leaving your room at sunrise. I had to pretend I was starting work early. Hyejin suspects something. She keeps asking me why I'm smiling so much." He moved between her legs, his hands settling on her thighs. "Apparently, I've been insufferable lately. Too happy. Is that a bad thing? In my world, yes. Happy men get careless. They make mistakes." His lips found that spot below her ear that made her shiver. "But I can't help it. You've ruined me for misery." Stella laughed, the sound getting cut off when he kissed her. These stolen moments were becoming her favorite part of each day. Sometimes they talked for hours, sharing stories about their different lives. He told her about growing up in Atlanta, about his father's expectations and the weight of family legacy. She told him about her childhood in Uganda, her mother's strength, her dreams of sending money home so her younger siblings could finish school. "I want to take you somewhere," Daewon said suddenly, pulling back to look at her. "A real date. Dinner at a restaurant. Maybe dancing, since you never got that night out." "That's too risky. What if someone sees us? What if they tell your mother?" His jaw tightened at the mention of Mrs. Park. "I don't care what my mother thinks." "Yes, you do. And you should. She's your family. You're becoming my family." He framed her face with his hands. "These past 3 months have been the best of my life. I wake up excited instead of dreading the day. I find excuses to come home early just to see you. Last week, Sung Min asked if I was sick because I've been too distracted to focus in meetings. Your right-hand man scares me," Stella admitted. "The way he looks at people, like he's calculating how to hurt them. Sung Min is loyal. He's been with me for 10 years. I trust him with my life. But would you trust him with me? With us?" The question hung in the air. Before Daewon could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and cursed in Korean. "My mother. She's coming to Baltimore next week. She wants to stay here for a few days." Stella's stomach dropped. "Here? In this house? Don't worry. You'll just be the maid to her. She won't suspect anything." But Stella did worry. All through the following week, anxiety gnawed at her. She deep-cleaned every room twice, wanting everything perfect. When Mrs. Park's car pulled up on Monday afternoon, Stella was wearing her most modest uniform, her hair pulled back severely. "You must be the maid." Mrs. Park's voice was cold as she swept through the front door. She was elegant and intimidating, wearing a cream suit that probably cost more than Stella made in a year. "My son mentioned he'd hired help. From Africa," he said. "Yes, ma'am. I'm Stella. From Uganda." How quaint. Mrs. Park didn't even look at her properly. "Bring my bags to the guest room, and I'll have tea in the sitting room. Green tea, not that herbal nonsense." "Of course, ma'am." For 3 days, Stella played her role perfectly. She served meals, cleaned rooms, and stayed invisible. Mrs. Park treated her like furniture, which somehow hurt more than outright rudeness. At night, Daiwan would sneak to her room instead of risk her going to his with his mother down the hall. "I hate this," he whispered against her skin one night. "I hate watching her dismiss you like you're nothing." "It's fine. It's what I am to her. Just the hired help." "No." He kissed her fiercely. "You're everything to me. And soon I'm going to tell her. Tell everyone." "Don't. Not yet. Please." Stella could feel how complicated this was becoming. "Let's just keep our secret a little longer." But secrets had a way of coming out. On Mrs. Park's last morning in Baltimore, Stella was bringing fresh towels to the guest room when she overheard Daiwan and his mother talking in his office. "You need to marry Yumi," Mrs. Park was saying. "Her family's business would strengthen our position in Philadelphia. It's a good match." "I'm not marrying Yumi. We broke up 2 years ago for a reason. Because you were young and foolish. Now you're older. Wiser. The Park family needs this alliance." Stella's hands trembled on the towels. She shouldn't be listening, but her feet wouldn't move. "I'm seeing someone," Daiwan said, and Stella's heart stopped. "Someone who makes me happy." "Who?" "That businesswoman. From New York? The lawyer?" "No. Someone you've met, actually." "Please don't tell her," Stella thought desperately. "Not like this. It's complicated. I'll explain everything when the time is right." Mrs. Park's laugh was sharp. "Complicated usually means inappropriate. Don't be foolish, Daiwan. Men in your position don't marry for love. They marry for strategy." Stella hurried away before she could hear more. That afternoon, after Mrs. Park left for Atlanta, she and Daiwan had their first real fight. "Your mother wants you to marry some woman named Yumi." "I know what my mother wants. I don't care." He tried to pull her close, but Stella stepped back. "You almost told her about us, without warning me, without preparing me. Would you rather I keep lying? Keep hiding you like you're something shameful? I'd rather be realistic. Look at us, Daiwan. Really look. You're a rich, powerful man from a traditional Korean family. I'm a maid from Uganda who sends money home to help pay for my brother's school fees. Your world and mine, they don't mix. They're mixing right now. They've been mixing for 3 months. In secret. In the dark. What happens when you bring me into the light? Your mother just made it clear what she thinks of people like me. I'm not even worth looking at properly." Daiwan's jaw clenched. "My mother is wrong, and I'll make her see that." "By doing what? Destroying your relationship with your family? Losing your position? Everything you've worked for? If that's what it takes." He grabbed her hand, his grip almost desperate. "Stella, I'm falling in love with you. Actually, no. I've already fallen. I'm in love with you. Completely. Terrifyingly. And I need to know if you feel the same." The words hung between them, heavy and important. Stella felt tears building. "Of course I love you. I think I've loved you since that first night. But love isn't always enough. It has to be enough, because I can't go back. I can't pretend anymore." He pulled her against him, And this time, she didn't resist. "Stay with me. Not as my maid, as mine. Move into my room. Let me tell Hyejin. Let me start preparing my mother. We'll take it slow, but we'll stop hiding. And if your family can't accept it, then I'll choose you." His lips brushed her forehead. "Every single time, I'll choose you." That night, Stella moved her few belongings into his room. It wasn't much, just some clothes and the photo of her family she kept by her bed. But it felt monumental, real, terrifying. Hyejin found out 2 days later when she walked into the kitchen and saw Daewon kissing Stella against the counter. The younger woman's eyes went wide. "How long?" Hyejin demanded. 3 months, Daewon answered calmly. "And before you start, I love her. This isn't some passing thing." But instead of anger, Hyejin surprised them both by smiling. "Finally. I've been waiting for you to admit it. The way you two looked at each other was painful to watch." "You knew," Stella gasped. "Please. You weren't that subtle. And my brother actually started laughing at jokes. That alone told me something was different." Hyejin hugged Stella impulsively. "Welcome to the chaos of the Park family. You're going to need a thick skin." Having Hyejin know felt like a weightlifting. She became their ally, covering for them when needed, making jokes that eased the tension. But she also warned them. "Mother is already suspicious. She called me yesterday asking if Daewon seemed different. And Yumi has been texting me, asking about coming to visit." "Yumi can stay in Philadelphia," Daewon said firmly. But fate had other plans. 2 weeks later, Stella was collecting mail from the front hall when she saw the name on one of the letters. Yumi Chen, return address Philadelphia. Her hand shook as she brought it to Daewon's office. "She's coming," he said after reading it, his face dark. "Next month. She wants to talk about rekindling things. Maybe you should see her, explain that you've moved on." "I've moved on to you." He stood and pulled Stella into his arms. "Let her come. Let her see that I'm taken, that I'm happy, that no arranged marriage could ever compare to what we have." But Stella couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was coming. That night, wrapped in Daewon's arms after making love, she stared at the ceiling and wondered if their happiness was borrowed time, if love really could conquer all the obstacles stacked against them. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder, and she turned to look at him. "Promise me something," she whispered. "Anything. Promise that whatever happens, we'll face it together. No more secrets, no more hiding. If this falls apart, we fall together." He kissed her softly, then deeper. "We're not falling apart. We're just beginning. And yes, I promise. Together. Always." But neither of them knew that in Philadelphia, Yumi was already packing her bags, or that Sung Min had started asking questions about why his boss was distracted, or that Mrs. Park had hired someone to investigate what was really going on in Baltimore. The secret they'd tried so hard to protect was about to explode into the open, and nothing would ever be the same again. The BMW pulled up to the mansion on a Tuesday afternoon, sleek and black and expensive. Stella was dusting the library when she heard the doorbell echo through the house. She'd learned to sense trouble, and everything about this moment felt wrong. When she opened the door, the woman standing there looked like she'd stepped out of a fashion magazine. Perfectly styled black hair, designer clothes that hugged her slim figure, heels that added 3 inches to her height. Her makeup was flawless, her smile sharp. "You must be the help," the woman said, breezing past Stella without waiting for an invitation. "I'm Yumi Chen. Where's Daewon?" Stella's stomach clenched. This was the ex, the woman Mrs. Park wanted her son to marry. Up close, she was even more intimidating than Stella had imagined. "Mr. Park is in a meeting. He wasn't expecting anyone." "Oh, I like surprising him." Yumi's eyes swept over Stella, dismissive and cold. "Bring my bags in from the car, would you? I'll be staying a few days." "I'm sorry, but Yumi?" Daewon's voice cut through the tension. He stood at the top of the stairs, his face unreadable. "What are you doing here?" "Darling." Yumi's whole demeanor changed, becoming softer, sweeter. "I wrote that I was coming. Didn't you get my letter?" "I got it. I also sent a response saying now wasn't a good time." "When is it ever a good time with you?" She laughed, the sound practiced and perfect. "I took a chance. Besides, we have so much to discuss. Business things, family things." Her eyes flicked to Stella. "Private things." Stella felt herself becoming invisible again, just the maid standing awkwardly by the door. Daewon's eyes met hers, a silent apology in them, before he descended the stairs. "We can talk in my office, but Yumi, you can't stay here." "Why not? I stayed here plenty of times before. Remember?" Her hand landed on his arm, possessive and familiar. "Remember everything." The implication was clear, and it hit Stella like a punch. These two had history. Real history. They'd shared this house, his bed, his life. She was the outsider here, not Yumi. "Things are different now," Daewon said, gently removing Yumi's hand. "I'll call you a car to the Four Seasons. We can meet for lunch tomorrow and talk." "Different how?" Yumi's eyes narrowed. "Daewon, your mother told me you've been acting strange, distant. She's worried about you. My mother needs to stop meddling. She loves you. We both do." Yumi moved closer, her voice dropping to something intimate. "I made a mistake leaving 2 years ago. I chose business over us. But I'm ready now. Ready to be what you need. What your family needs." Stella couldn't watch anymore. She turned and headed toward the kitchen, her vision blurring with tears she refused to let fall. Behind her, she heard Daewon say something sharp, heard Yumi's protest. But it didn't matter. The ex was here, beautiful and sophisticated, and from the right world. Everything Stella wasn't. She was scrubbing the kitchen counter viciously when Hye-jin found her 20 minutes later. "That woman is a snake," Hye-jin announced. "I came down and saw her trying to kiss my brother. He pushed her away, told her firmly that he's with someone else. She did not take it well." "Did he tell her about me?" "Not specifically, but she knows something is up. She kept asking who it was, if it was serious." Hye-jin touched Stella's shoulder. "Hey, you okay?" "She's perfect for him. You know it. Your mother knows it. Everyone knows it except him. Perfect on paper, maybe. But she doesn't make him happy. You do." The kitchen door swung open, and Yumi walked in. Daewon right behind her, looking frustrated. Yumi's eyes landed on Stella, and something flickered across her face. Suspicion? Recognition? Then her expression smoothed into polite disinterest. "I'm staying after all," Yumi announced. "Daewon was kind enough to insist. Wasn't that sweet of him?" "I said you could stay one night," Daewon corrected, his voice tight. "Then you're going to a hotel. One night is all I need." Yumi's smile was predatory. "Now, which room will I be in? Not the guest room, I hope. That mattress always hurt my back. Remember how I used to complain?" Stella wanted to scream. Instead, she said quietly, "I'll prepare the blue bedroom, excuse me." She fled before anyone could respond, climbing the back stairs to the second floor. The blue bedroom was at the opposite end of the hall from Daewon's master suite. She threw herself into making it perfect, needing the physical work to calm her racing thoughts. "She's trying to get a reaction from you," Stella jumped. Daewon stood in the doorway, having followed her up. "It's working. I don't want her here. I told her no. She showed up anyway, then made a scene about how she'd already checked out of her Philadelphia apartment, how she'd driven all this way." He scrubbed his hand over his face. "I'm handling this badly. You're being kind. It's one of the things I love about you." Stella smoothed the bedspread unnecessarily. She's very beautiful. She's my past. You're my future. Am I? The words burst out before she could stop them. Because from where I'm standing, I'm still just the maid making up a bedroom for your ex-girlfriend. Daewon closed the distance between them, gripping her arms. You are everything. Do you hear me? Everything. And tonight, after she goes to sleep, you're coming to my room like always. We're not hiding anymore. We're not changing our routine because she's here. But they did change. That night, Stella stayed in her old room, unable to bring herself to walk past the blue bedroom where Yumi slept. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, torturing herself with images of Daewon and Yumi together. Had he loved her? Had they made love in his bed? Had he whispered the same words to her that he now whispered to Stella? Around 2 in the morning, her door opened softly. Daewon slipped in, still dressed in his clothes from dinner. I knew you wouldn't come to me, so I came to you. She's right down the hall. I don't care if she's in the next room. I need you. He climbed into her small bed, pulling her against him. I couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe. I kept thinking you were doubting us. I am doubting us. Doubting me. Stella pressed her face into his chest. She fits your world, I don't. You fit my heart. That's all that matters. They made love quietly, desperately, trying to reassure each other that this was real, that what they had was stronger than any ex or family pressure or doubt. Afterward, tangled together in her narrow bed, Daewon whispered plans, how he'd send Yumi away tomorrow, how he'd call his mother and tell her everything, how they'd face the world together. But morning brought new problems. Stella was making breakfast when Yumi appeared, wearing a silk robe that barely covered her. She poured herself coffee and leaned against the counter, studying Stella with sharp eyes. You're sleeping with him, Yumi said suddenly. Don't deny it. I can see it all over your face. Stella's hands froze on the pan. I don't know what you mean. Please. I've known Daewon for 6 years. I know what he looks like when he's getting some. And last night at dinner, the way he kept glancing toward the kitchen. She laughed without humor. It's you, the maid. Oh, this is rich. You should talk to Mr. Park if you have questions. I'm talking to you. Yumi moved closer, her voice dropping to something dangerous. Listen carefully. I don't know what game you're playing, but it ends now. Daewon is going through a phase, a rebellion against his mother, against expectations. You're convenient, exotic, a fun little secret. That's not true, isn't it? Tell me, has he introduced you to anyone important? Has he taken you out in public? Or does he just keep you here, in his house, in his bed, where no one can see? Each word was a knife, cutting deep because they held truth. Stella lifted her chin. He loves me. He loved me too. For 3 years. We were engaged. Did he mention that? I have the ring to prove it. Yumi held up her hand, showing off a diamond that caught the morning light. I still wear it sometimes, a reminder of what we had, what we'll have again. He told me about you, about how you left. I left to build my empire. Now I'm back to claim what's mine. Yumi set down her coffee cup, her smile cold. You seem sweet, naive, so let me give you some advice. Walk away now, before this gets ugly. Before his mother finds out and destroys you. Because she will. Mrs. Park eats girls like you for breakfast. Good morning. Daewon's voice cut through the kitchen like ice. He stood in the doorway, still in his workout clothes, and the look on his face was terrifying. Yumi, pack your things. You're leaving. Now? I was just having a chat with your maid. Her name is Stella, and she's not just my maid. She's my girlfriend, the woman I love, and you will treat her with respect, or get out of my house immediately. Yumi's mask cracked, showing real anger underneath. Your girlfriend? You're dating the help? Oh, Daewon, your mother is going to lose her mind. My mother will deal with it. So will you. He moved to stand beside Stella, his hand finding hers. I tried to be polite. I tried to let you down easy. But you don't seem to hear subtle. So here it is, plain and simple. We're over. We've been over for 2 years. I love Stella. I'm building a life with Stella. And you need to accept that and move on. You're making a mistake. Yumi's voice shook. A huge mistake. She's using you. Can't you see that? Poor girl from Africa lands a rich boss. It's the oldest story in the book. Get out. Daewon's voice was deadly quiet. Get out of my house before I have Sung-min escort you out. I'll tell your mother. I'll tell everyone. Tell them. I don't care anymore. Yumi looked between them, her perfect composure finally shattering. You'll regret this, both of you. You have no idea what you're starting. She stormed out of the kitchen, and they heard her footsteps pounding up the stairs. Stella's whole body was shaking. Daewon pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. She knows, Stella whispered. She's going to tell everyone, your mother, your business partners, everyone. Good. Let her. I'm done hiding you. He kissed the top of her head. I'm done with all of it. We're going public, Stella, starting today. I'm scared. Me too. But we'll be scared together. Upstairs, they heard Yumi slamming drawers, throwing things. Within 30 minutes, she appeared with her bags, her makeup perfect again, her armor back in place. This isn't over, she said from the doorway. You're going to wake up one day and realize what you gave up, what you lost, and I won't be waiting. After she left, the house felt quiet. Too quiet. Stella couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, that Yumi's threat wasn't empty, that somewhere in Philadelphia, plans were already forming. Revenge was brewing. That night, Daewon made love to her with an intensity that felt like claiming, like branding, like he was trying to erase any doubt Yumi had planted. And for those few hours, wrapped in his arms, Stella let herself believe that love really could conquer everything, that they really could survive what was coming. But in the darkness, as Daewon slept beside her, she stared at the ceiling and prayed that they were strong enough, prayed that his family wouldn't destroy them, prayed that she hadn't just made the biggest mistake of her life by falling in love with a man whose world would never fully accept her. Tomorrow, they would tell Sung-min. Tomorrow, they would start preparing for Mrs. Park's reaction. Tomorrow, they would face reality. But tonight, they had each other. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. The call came at 7 in the morning, 3 days after Yumi left. Stella was still in Daewon's bed, her head on his chest, when his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his whole body tensed. My mother, he said, sitting up. She knows. How can you tell? She never calls this early unless she's angry. He answered it, switching to Korean. Stella didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. Sharp, demanding, furious. Daewon's responses grew shorter, harder. Finally, he said something that sounded final and hung up. She's coming here. Today. She'll be here by noon. Stella's stomach dropped. Yumi told her. Yumi told everyone. My mother, my uncles, half of our business associates in Atlanta. She sent photos, apparently, of us. Someone must have been watching the house, taking pictures through windows. His jaw clenched. My mother is bringing my uncle. This is going to be bad. They had 4 hours to prepare, but no amount of preparation could have readied Stella for the hurricane that was Mrs. Park in a rage. She swept into the house like a storm, her brother beside her. Uncle Jinho was even more intimidating than Mrs. Park, tall and severe, with cold eyes that missed nothing. Where is she? Mrs. Park demanded the moment she saw Daewon. Where is this woman you've disgraced our family with? I'm right here. Stella stepped out from the sitting room, her heart pounding but her spine straight. She dressed carefully in a simple dress, nothing flashy, hoping to show respect. But Mrs. Park's face when she saw her was pure horror. You? Mrs. Park looked at Daewon like he'd lost his mind. The maid? You're sleeping with the maid? Her name is Stella. And yes, I love her. We're together. The slap echoed through the hallway. Mrs. Park had moved so fast Stella hadn't even seen it coming. Daewon's head snapped to the side, a red mark blooming on his cheek. How dare you, Mrs. Park hissed. How dare you throw away everything our family has built for some woman who cleans toilets for a living? Mother, Hyejin appeared on the stairs. You can't just... Be quiet. This doesn't concern you. It concerns all of us, Uncle Jinho said, his voice calmer but no less dangerous. Daewon, I understand young men have needs, but to actually pursue a relationship with hired help, to let it become public, do you understand what this does to our family's reputation? I understand that I'm happy for the first time in years, Daewon said, his voice hard despite the red mark on his face. I understand that Stella makes me a better man, and I understand that if you can't accept that, then we have nothing more to discuss. Mrs. Park turned to Stella, her eyes full of venom. You. What did you do to my son? What tricks did you use? I didn't do anything except fall in love with him. Love. Mrs. Park spat the word like poison. You expect me to believe this is love? You're a poor immigrant who saw an opportunity and took it. You're using my son for money, for status, for a green card. That's not true. Stella felt her own anger rising. I have my own work visa. I earn my own money. I don't want anything from Daewon except his heart. How noble. The sarcasm dripped from Mrs. Park's words. Tell me, what happens when the novelty wears off? When my son realizes he's tied himself to someone who will never fit in his world? Someone who will embarrass him at business dinners, who doesn't understand our culture, who— Stop! Daewon stepped between them. Mother, I love you, but if you say one more cruel word to Stella, you can leave my house and not come back. Your house? Mrs. Park laughed bitterly. This house was bought with Park family money. Money that comes from businesses built over generations. And you're willing to throw all of that away for her? If I have to? Yes. The silence that followed was deafening. Uncle Jinho sighed heavily. Daewon, be reasonable. We're not saying never see her again. Have your fun. But marriage? Children? Making her part of the family? That's impossible. Why? Hyejin demanded. Because she's not Korean? Because she worked as a maid? That's so old-fashioned. You're too young to understand, Mrs. Park snapped. This is about legacy, about family, about— The doorbell interrupted her. Sung Min appeared in the hallway. Boss, there's a problem. Some of our partners in Richmond are pulling out of the port deal. They're saying they can't work with someone whose personal life is so unstable. Daewon's expression darkened. What? It's not just them. I've had 3 calls this morning. People are talking. About you and her. Sung Min's eyes flicked to Stella, and for the first time, she saw what looked like anger there. It's affecting business. You see, Mrs. Park seized on this. You're already losing respect, losing deals. How long before everything crumbles? How long before you have nothing left to offer her but ruins? That's not fair, Stella whispered. Daewon, I never wanted to hurt your business. I never wanted any of this. This isn't your fault. But even as he said it, Stella could see the worry in his eyes. His empire was cracking, and it was because of her. Over the next week, things got worse. More partners backed out of deals. Shipments were delayed. Meetings were canceled. Mrs. Park stayed in Baltimore, a constant presence, wearing Daewon down with arguments and guilt. She never spoke to Stella directly again, just looked through her, like she didn't exist. Stella tried to make herself smaller, quieter. She stayed in her old room most nights, not wanting to cause more problems. But that just seemed to make Daewon more determined. He became defiant, publicly claiming her, touching her in front of his mother, making his stance clear. "You're making it worse," Stella told him one night when they finally had privacy. "Every time you defend me, she gets angrier. The business problems get bigger. I won't apologize for loving you. I'm not asking you to apologize. I'm asking you to be smart." She cupped his face, seeing the exhaustion there. "You haven't slept in days. You're fighting with everyone. This is destroying you. Losing you would destroy me more." But the universe wasn't done testing them. The real betrayal came from an unexpected source. Stella was in the garden one afternoon when she overheard Sung Min on his phone. He didn't know she was there, hidden behind the hedges. "Yes, I sent you the financial reports," Sung Min was saying. "The ones he didn't want shared. Yes, to that email address. I know what I'm doing. He's compromised right now. Distracted. This is the perfect time to make our move." Stella's blood ran cold. Sung Min, the man Daewon trusted with everything, was betraying him. She waited until he left, then ran to find Daewon. He was in his office with Uncle Jin-ho and Mrs. Park, all of them looking at documents. "We need to talk," she said breathlessly. "Alone. Now." "We're in the middle of... It's about Sung Min. He's betraying you." The room went still. Mrs. Park's expression turned calculating. "More accusations. More drama. This is exactly what I'm talking about. She's paranoid, causing problems between you and your men. I heard him on the phone. He was sending financial reports to someone, saying this was the perfect time to make a move because you're distracted." Daewon stood. "What exactly did you hear?" Stella repeated the conversation word for word. She watched Daewon's face change, saw the moment he started believing her. Uncle Jin-ho pulled out his phone, made a call, asked questions. 10 minutes later, he had confirmation. "She's right. Sung Min has been communicating with the Choi family. They're planning to undercut us on the Seattle deal. They had inside information about our bids. Sung Min." Daewon's voice was hollow. "My best friend. For 10 years. "This is her fault," Mrs. Park said, pointing at Stella. "He's been loyal for a decade, but the moment you bring her into your life, he turns traitor. Don't you see? Everything is falling apart because of her. Mother, that makes no sense. Doesn't it? She's a distraction, a weakness. Your enemies see it. Your allies see it. Everyone sees it except you." The fight that followed was explosive. Accusations flew. Daewon confronted Sung Min, who didn't even deny it. "You chose a maid over your family," Sung Min said coldly. "You became weak. Someone had to protect the real interests of this organization." Sung Min was arrested. The Seattle deal fell through anyway. 2 more partners pulled out of projects. Mrs. Park's campaign against Stella intensified. She brought other family members to the house, all of them united in their disapproval. They looked at Stella like she was garbage, whispered when she walked by, made her feel like an intruder in her own home. Hye-jin tried to help, tried to be a buffer, but even she was getting worn down by the constant pressure. "My mother is relentless," she told Stella one afternoon. "She's calling everyone we know, telling them you're using my brother. She's threatening to cut him off completely." "Maybe she should," Stella said quietly. "Maybe I should just leave." "Don't you dare. My brother loves you. I've never seen him this happy, even with all the chaos." But was he happy? Stella wasn't sure anymore. He looked exhausted, stressed, torn between his family and his heart. Every day the pressure mounted. Every day Mrs. Park found new ways to make Stella feel unwelcome, unwanted, wrong. The breaking point came 2 weeks later. Stella was in the kitchen when she overheard Mrs. Park talking to Uncle Jin-ho in the dining room. "We need to offer her money," Mrs. Park was saying. "Enough to make..." Her leave. Everyone has a price. And if she refuses, then we make her life so miserable she has no choice. We freeze Daewon's accounts, cut him off from the business, force him to choose between his inheritance and his plaything. That could backfire. He might choose her. Then he'll have nothing. No money, no power, no future. Let's see how much she loves him when he's broke and useless. Stella felt sick. They were planning to destroy Daewon's entire life to get rid of her. And the worst part? She knew it would work. Not because Daewon would leave her for money, but because watching him lose everything because of her would break her heart. That night, while Daewon was dealing with another business crisis, Stella packed her bags. Just one suitcase, just enough to disappear. She left a note on his pillow, tears streaming down her face as she wrote, "I love you. That's why I have to go. Your family will destroy you if I stay. They'll take everything. And I can't watch that happen. I can't be the reason you lose your world. Maybe someday, when things are calmer, we can try again. But right now, the best thing I can do for you is leave. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't look for me. Please just let me go. Love always, Stella." She called a taxi, slipping out through the back door. The last thing she saw was the mansion lit up against the night sky, all her dreams contained in one building that had never really been her home. As the taxi pulled away, Stella pressed her hand against the window and whispered goodbye to the life she'd almost had, to the man who'd made her believe in love, to the future that was never meant to be hers. Behind her, in that big house full of anger and betrayal and broken dreams, Daewon would find her note in a few hours. He would read it, and both their worlds would shatter completely. Stella stared at the peeling paint on the ceiling of her cousin's apartment in Houston, counting the cracks for the 100th time. 3 weeks had passed since she'd left Baltimore. 3 weeks of silence. 3 weeks of dying inside. "You need to eat something," Naledi said from the doorway. Her cousin was 5 years older, a nurse who worked double shifts and still made time to worry about Stella. "You're getting too thin." "I'm not hungry." "You haven't been hungry for 3 weeks. This isn't healthy." Naledi sat on the edge of the bed. "Have you at least checked your phone? Maybe he's tried to call." Stella had thrown her phone away the night she left, bought a new one with a new number that only Naledi had. She couldn't risk hearing Daewon's voice, couldn't risk him convincing her to come back. "It doesn't matter. I made my choice. A choice you're clearly regretting." "Regretting doesn't change anything. His family was destroying him because of me. His business was falling apart. He was losing everything." Stella's voice cracked. "How could I stay and watch that happen? So instead, you're here, wasting away in my spare room, crying yourself to sleep every night. That's better?" It wasn't better. Nothing about this was better. Stella had found work at a hotel downtown, cleaning rooms just like she'd cleaned Daewon's mansion, except now every room reminded her of him. Every bed she made felt like the one they'd shared. Every mirror reflected back a woman who'd left her heart in Baltimore. The job paid enough for basics, and she was saving to get her own place. But money felt meaningless when everything else was gone. She moved through her days like a ghost, present, but not really there. Her coworkers tried to be friendly, but she couldn't connect, couldn't laugh at their jokes or care about their gossip. At night, alone in the dark, she let herself remember. The way Daewon's eyes had softened when he looked at her, the sound of his laugh when she made a joke, the feeling of his hands learning her body, the whispered promises about their future. All of it felt like a dream now, something that had happened to someone else. "You should at least let him know you're okay," Naledi pressed. "The man probably thinks you're dead." "He's better off thinking I disappeared. Cleaner that way. No messy goodbyes or promises we can't keep." But Stella wondered constantly what he was doing. Had he fixed things with his family? Had the business recovered? Was he relieved she was gone, even if he'd never admit it? Or was he hurting like she was, walking around with a hole in his chest? 4 weeks after leaving, the nausea started. At first, Stella blamed it on stress and poor eating. But when it continued for 3 days straight, especially in the mornings, a terrible suspicion crept in. She bought a pregnancy test on her way home from work, her hands shaking so badly she almost dropped it. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. Stella slid down the bathroom wall, the test clutched in her hand. She was going to have Day One's baby, a piece of him growing inside her. The timing made sense. Their last night together before everything fell apart, when they'd made love like they were trying to memorize each other. "Oh God," she whispered to the empty bathroom. "Oh God, what do I do?" Naledi found her there an hour later, still sitting on the floor. Her cousin took one look at the test and wrapped Stella in her arms. Okay, we'll figure this out. You have options. Whatever you decide, I'm here." "I can't tell him." Stella's voice was firm despite her tears. "He's finally free of me. Free to fix his life, to make his family happy, to save his business. I can't trap him with a baby." "That's not trapping. That's his child. He has a right to know." "Does he? When knowing would destroy everything he's worked to rebuild?" Stella pressed her hand to her still flat stomach. "I left so he could have his life back. Telling him about this would just drag him back into the mess." "You're not a mess. You're a woman he loves who's carrying his baby." But Stella couldn't see it that way. All she could see was more complications, more reasons for Mrs. Park to hate her, more ammunition for his family to use against them. A baby would make everything 10 times worse. Over the next week, she tried to convince herself she was doing the right thing. She started taking prenatal vitamins, made a doctor's appointment, looked at her budget and figured out how to afford childcare. She would do this alone. Lots of women raised babies alone. She was strong. She would manage. But at night, lying in bed with her hand on her stomach, she felt overwhelmingly sad. This baby would never know its father, would never feel his strong arms or hear his laugh, would never see the way his eyes crinkled when he smiled or know the gentleness hidden under his tough exterior. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, Daiwan was falling apart. After finding Stella's note, he'd torn the city apart looking for her. He'd called every number in her phone, visited every place she'd mentioned. Nothing. She'd vanished like smoke. His mother thought he should be relieved. "She made the choice for you," Mrs. Park said. "Let it go. Move on. Find someone appropriate." But Daiwan couldn't move on. He stopped sleeping in his bedroom, unable to face the empty bed. Stopped eating regularly. Threw himself into work with manic intensity, trying to drown out the silence where Stella's laughter used to be. He rebuilt the business with ruthless efficiency, won back the lost partners, made new deals. On paper, everything was recovering. Inside, he was dying. Hyejin watched her brother become a shell of himself. He smiled at the right times, said the right things, but there was no life in his eyes. "You need to find her," she told him one night. "This is killing you." She doesn't want to be found. She made that clear. She was scared, overwhelmed. But she loves you. I know she does. Love wasn't enough. Daewon's voice was hollow. That's what she proved by leaving. Sometimes love isn't enough. 8 weeks after Stella left, Daewon was in his office late one night when Yumi showed up. She'd been trying to contact him for weeks, and he'd ignored every message. But tonight, in his grief and exhaustion, he didn't have the energy to send her away. "You look terrible," Yumi said, settling into the chair across from his desk. She'd toned down her appearance, dressed simply, her makeup subtle, playing the concerned friend instead of the spurned lover. "What do you want, Yumi?" "To help. I heard about your maid leaving. I'm sorry that happened. Don't. His voice was sharp. Don't pretend you're sorry. You did everything you could to make it happen. I did, she admitted. And I was wrong. I see that now. I was jealous and petty. And I hurt you. I hurt both of you. She leaned forward. But Daewon, she's gone. And you're here, destroying yourself over someone who chose to leave. At some point, you have to accept that and move forward. I don't want to move forward. I want her back. What if you can't have her back? What if she's really gone? Are you going to waste the rest of your life mourning what you lost? Yumi's voice softened. I'm not saying fall back in love with me. I know that ship has sailed. But let me help you. Let me be your friend, like I was before everything got complicated. You need someone who understands your world. It was the loneliness that weakened him, the desperate need for human connection when everything felt cold and empty. When Yumi reached across the desk and took his hand, he didn't pull away. When she suggested dinner tomorrow, somewhere quiet where they could talk, he heard himself agree. The dinner was innocent enough. They talked about business, about mutual friends, carefully avoiding anything personal. But at the end, when she leaned in to kiss his cheek goodbye, she aimed wrong. Or maybe she aimed exactly right. Her lips caught the corner of his mouth. For one terrible second, Daewon didn't pull back. Shock froze him in place, and in that second, Stella's face flashed in his mind. The way she'd looked the morning after their first night together. The trust in her eyes. The love. He jerked back like he'd been burned. Don't ever do that again. Daewon, I mean it, Yumi. I'm not over her. I'll never be over her. And using my grief to get close to me? That's low, even for you. He left her standing there and went home. Took the coldest shower he could stand, trying to wash away the feeling of betrayal. He hadn't really kissed her back. It had barely been a kiss at all. But guilt ate at him anyway. That night, he stood in the doorway of his bedroom for the first time in weeks, looked at the bed where he and Stella had loved each other, made a decision. I'm going to find you, he said to the empty room. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care where you've gone. I'm going to find you, and I'm going to fight for us. Because you were wrong, Stella. Love is enough. It has to be. But finding someone who didn't want to be found was harder than he'd imagined. He hired investigators, checked passenger lists and employment records, put out feelers through every contact he had. Nothing. Stella had disappeared completely. Meanwhile, in Houston, Stella was 12 weeks pregnant when Hee-jin found her. Daewon's sister had been conducting her own search, using methods her brother didn't know about. She showed up at Naletti's apartment one Saturday morning, determined and fierce. I need to talk to Stella, Hee-jin told Naletti at the door. Who are you? Daewon's sister. And before you slam the door, just know I'm not leaving until I see her. I'll camp out here if I have to. Naletti let her in, and Stella emerged from the bedroom, looking pale and tired. The pregnancy was making her sick constantly, stealing what little appetite she had. You shouldn't be here, Stella said quietly. Too bad. I'm here anyway. Hye-jin looked at her, really looked, and saw what Naletti and Stella had been trying to hide. The slight swell of her belly, the way her hand instinctively went to protect it. Oh my God, you're pregnant. Stella's hand dropped. Please, please don't tell him. Are you insane? That's his baby. He has every right to know. He has the right to his life back, to fix things with your family, to save his business. Stella's voice rose. Don't you understand? I'm poison to him. I'm the reason everything fell apart. How is adding a baby going to make anything better? Because he loves you. Because he's been a zombie since you left. Because every single day I watch my brother die a little more inside. Hye-jin's eyes filled with tears. You think you're protecting him? You're destroying him? and keeping his child from him? That's not love. That's cowardice. The words hit like slaps. Stella sank onto the couch, her whole body shaking. I'm scared. I'm so scared that if I tell him, his mother will find some way to take the baby from me, to prove I'm unfit, to destroy me for real this time. My mother is difficult, but she's not evil, and she's been different since you left. Quieter. I think seeing what she did to Daewon actually affected her. She won't admit she was wrong, but she stopped pushing other women at him, stopped talking about arranged marriages. That doesn't mean she'll accept me, or this baby. Hyejin sat beside her, taking her hand. Maybe not at first. But this is her grandchild. That means something. And Daewon deserves to be a father, to make his own choices about his own child. What if he doesn't want it? What if he's moved on? He hasn't moved on. Trust me. He's still completely in love with you, miserable and pining and refusing to even look at anyone else. Stella wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that Daewon was hurting like she was, that their love hadn't just evaporated the moment she'd left, but fear was a powerful thing. I need time, she said finally, to think, to decide what's right. How much time? Because that baby is going to start showing soon, and then what? You hide until it's born? Keep his child a secret forever? I don't know. The tears came then, hot and fast. I don't know what to do. I'm 26, living in my cousin's spare room, working at a hotel, pregnant with a mafia boss's baby. There's no right answer here. Hyejin softened, pulling Stella into a hug. I'm not trying to bully you. I just want you both to be happy. And I think the only way that happens is if you're together. After Hyejin left, promising to keep the secret for now, but making it clear she thought Stella was wrong, Naledi sat beside her. She's right, you know. About which part? All of it. You're scared, and I get that. But keeping this baby a secret? That's not protecting anyone. That's just running from something hard. Stella knew they were right. Deep down, she knew. But knowing and being brave enough to act were two different things. She'd left to save Daewon from his family's wrath. How? Could she go back now, pregnant and vulnerable, and throw herself back into that fire? That night, lying in bed with her hand on her growing stomach, she talked to the baby. Your father is the best man I've ever known. He's strong and kind, and he makes me laugh. He would love you so much. But I'm scared, little one. Scared of his world. Scared of not being enough. Scared of you getting hurt because of who your mother is. The baby couldn't answer, but Stella felt a flutter. Movement. Life. And suddenly, her decision became clear. This wasn't just about her anymore. This wasn't just about protecting Daewon or avoiding his family. This was about a child who deserved to know its father, who deserved the chance at a whole family, messy as it might be. She would tell him. She would go back to Baltimore, face whatever came, and tell Daewon the truth. He deserved to know. Their baby deserved the chance. And maybe, just maybe, love really was enough after all. 3 months had crawled by since Stella left. Daewon stood on the balcony of his office, watching Baltimore's skyline fade into dusk. The city looked the same as always, but nothing felt right anymore. His phone buzzed with another message from his mother about a dinner she'd arranged with some business associate's daughter. He deleted it without reading. Boss, you have a visitor. His new second-in-command, a man named Jun Seo, appeared in the doorway. After Sung Min's betrayal, trust had become a rare commodity. She says it's urgent. Tell whoever it is to make an appointment. It's your sister. And she says if you don't see her right now, she'll make a scene in the lobby. That sounded like Hyejin. Daewon sighed and waved Jun Seo away. His sister burst in moments later, her face flushed with anger and something else. Determination, maybe, Or fear. I know where she is, Hyejin announced without preamble. Daewon's heart stopped. Started again, pounding so hard he felt dizzy. Stella? Yes, Stella. Who else? I found her 2 weeks ago in Houston, and before you ask, no, I didn't tell you immediately because I needed to respect her privacy. But things have changed. You need to go get her. She doesn't want me. She left, remember? Made it very clear she was done. She left because she was scared and overwhelmed and thought she was protecting you. Hyejin moved closer, grabbing his arm. But Daewon, there's something else. Something big. The way his sister's voice wavered made alarm bells ring. What? Is she hurt? Sick? She's pregnant. The world tilted. Daewon sat down hard in his desk chair, all the air leaving his lungs. What? About 3 months along. Your baby. She's been dealing with it alone this whole time because she's convinced telling you would ruin your life, even more than it already got ruined. My baby. The words felt foreign in his mouth. She's having my baby. And she didn't tell me? She's scared, Appa. Scared of Mother. Scared of your world. Scared of not being good enough. Hyejin knelt beside his chair. But that baby deserves a father. And you deserve to know your child. So stop sitting here feeling sorry for yourself and go get your family. Daewon was already standing, grabbing his jacket. Where in Houston? I'll text you the address. But Daewon, don't go in angry. She's been through enough. He made it to the airport in record time, chartered a private plane because commercial flights would have taken too long. During the 2-hour flight, his emotions cycled through everything. Anger that she'd kept something so important from him. Joy that she was carrying his child. Fear that she might still refuse to come back. Love, overwhelming and fierce, for both her and the baby. By the time he landed in Houston and found the address Hyejin had sent, it was past midnight. He stood outside the modest apartment building, his heart racing. What if she slammed the door in his face? What if she really didn't want him anymore? He climbed the stairs to the 2nd floor, found apartment 2C, and knocked. The woman who answered wasn't Stella, but the family resemblance was clear. Older, taller, but with the same warm brown eyes. You must be Daewon. Is she here? Please, I need to see her. Do you have any idea what time it is? She's sleeping. She's pregnant and exhausted, and I know she's pregnant. That's why I'm here. Daewon heard the desperation in his own voice. Please, I've spent 3 months thinking I'd lost her. I'm not waiting another minute. The woman studied him for a long moment, then stepped aside. She's in the 2nd door on the left. But if you make her cry, I don't care how powerful you are. I'll make you regret it. Understood. The apartment was small and clean, furnished simply. Nothing like his mansion in Baltimore. Daewon found the door Naledi had indicated and knocked softly. When there was no answer, he opened it carefully. Stella was asleep in a narrow bed, one hand resting protectively on her stomach. Even in the dim light from the hallway, he could see the small bump. His baby. Their baby. The sight made his throat tight. Stella. He said her name quietly, not wanting to startle her. Stella, wake up! Her eyes opened slowly, confused. Then she saw him, and sat up so fast she got dizzy. Daewon, how did you... What are you... Hyejin told me. About Houston. About the baby. He moved closer, sitting on the edge of her bed. About everything. Stella's hand flew to her stomach, protective. You shouldn't be here. I'm exactly where I should be. With you. With our child. His voice cracked on the last words. How could you not tell me? How could you think I wouldn't want to know? Because you were finally free. Your business was recovering. Your family was calm. Everything was getting better without me around to ruin it. Better? He laughed, but it sounded broken. Stella, I've been a walking corpse for 3 months. Nothing got better. I fixed the business, because I had nothing else to do, because work was the only thing that didn't remind me of you. But I wasn't living. I was just existing. Your mother can deal with it. I don't care what my mother thinks anymore. I don't care what anyone thinks." He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and placed his hand over hers on her stomach. "This is my baby, my family, and I'll be damned if I let anyone keep me from being a father." Tears streamed down Stella's face. "I was so scared. Scared you'd moved on. Scared you'd be angry. Scared your family would try to take the baby from me. Never. I would never let that happen." He moved closer, cupping her face with his free hand. "I love you. I've loved you since that night in the red dress. I've loved you through every fight, every obstacle, every moment of doubt. And I love this baby already. So please, please stop trying to protect me from my own life, and let me be with you. It's not going to be easy. Your mother will lose her mind when she finds out. Then she loses her mind. I've made my choice. You. Always. You." He leaned in, pressing his forehead to hers. "Come back to Baltimore with me. Marry me. Let's raise this baby together, the way we should have been doing all along." "Marry you?" Stella's breath hitched. "You're proposing? Now? In my cousin's spare room at 1 in the morning while I'm wearing pajamas? I don't have a ring. I don't have a plan. I just have the absolute certainty that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So yes, I'm proposing. Badly, apparently. But I'm proposing." He pulled back to look at her. "Marry me, Stella. Not because of the baby. Not because it's the right thing to do. But because I can't imagine my future without you in it." Fresh tears fell. But this time they looked different. Happier. "Yes. Yes. I'll marry you." The kiss was soft at first, gentle, relearning each other after months apart. Then it deepened, became more urgent. Daewon broke away, breathing hard. "I've missed you so much, every single day, every single moment." "I missed you too. I tried to convince myself I'd done the right thing, but I was miserable. And then I found out about the baby, and I wanted to tell you so badly. But I was such a coward. You're the bravest person I know, leaving me to protect me. Deciding to raise a baby alone because you thought it was best. That took courage." He kissed her again. Terribly misguided courage that nearly killed us both. But courage. Stella laughed through her tears. "So what now? We just go back and face your mother. Face everyone. We face them together. And I don't care how long it takes, or how hard it gets. We're a family now. You, me, and this baby. Nothing is going to change that." They spent the rest of the night talking, making plans, making love carefully and tenderly. Daewon's hands explored her changing body with wonder, feeling the small bump that housed their child. "I can't believe I almost missed this. Missed all of this. Your sister saved us. If she hadn't found me, if she hadn't pushed me to tell you. Remind me to buy her something extremely expensive." In the morning, they told Naledi they were leaving for Baltimore. Stella's cousin hugged her tight. "Be happy. And if his family gives you trouble, you call me. I'll come up there and handle them." The flight back felt surreal. Stella kept touching her stomach, then looking at Daewon like she expected him to disappear. He held her hand the entire time, solid and real and there. "What are we going to do about your mother?" Stella asked as they landed. "We're going to tell her the truth, all of it. And if she can't accept it, then she'll miss out on knowing her grandchild. That's her choice to make." But facing Mrs. Park would have to wait. First, they went to Daewon's mansion. The place looked the same, but it felt different coming back. Hae-jin was waiting in the foyer, and she rushed to hug them both. "Thank God. I was worried you'd blow it." "Your brother proposed to me in my cousin's spare room at 1 in the morning, Stella said, laughing. "It was the least romantic proposal in history." And she said yes anyway, which proves she really loves me. Daewon pulled Stella against his side. We're getting married. Soon. Before the baby comes. Mother is going to have a stroke. Mother will adjust, or she won't. Either way, this is happening. That night, back in Daewon's bed, Stella felt like she could finally breathe again. His arms were around her, his hand on her stomach, their baby safe between them. I love you, she whispered into the darkness. I love you more. Both of you. He kissed her temple. And tomorrow, we start our life together. For real this time. No more running. No more hiding. No more running, Stella agreed. We face everything head on. But neither of them knew just how much they'd have to face, because in Atlanta, Mrs. Park was already getting reports about her son's return, about the woman he'd brought back with him, about the rumors that were starting to spread. And in Philadelphia, Yumi was making plans of her own. Plans that involved revenge and jealousy and a dangerous desperation. She'd lost Daewon once, but she wasn't ready to lose him completely. Not yet. The storm was coming. But this time, Stella and Daewon would face it together. And maybe, just maybe, their love would be strong enough to survive whatever came next. The family meeting was set for Sunday afternoon. Mrs. Park insisted on doing it at the mansion, wanting home advantage. Daewon agreed, because fighting over location seemed pointless when they had bigger battles ahead. You don't have to be there, he told Stella that morning. She was dealing with morning sickness, pale and exhausted. I can handle my mother alone. No way. We're in this together, remember? Stella forced herself to eat dry toast, hoping it would stay down. Besides, she needs to hear from me directly that I'm not going anywhere. By 2 o'clock, the sitting room was full. Mrs. Park sat in her usual chair like a queen on a throne, Uncle Jin-ho beside her. 3 other family members had been invited, all older, all disapproving. Hye-jin stood by the window, arms crossed, ready to defend her brother. Daewon entered with Stella's hand firmly in his, making his stance clear from the start. Mrs. Park's eyes went immediately to their joined hands, then to Stella's middle, where the pregnancy was starting to show in her fitted dress. So the rumors are true, Mrs. Park said coldly. You brought her back, and she's pregnant. Yes to both. And before you start, let me make a few things clear. Daewon's voice was calm, but hard. Stella and I are getting married in 2 weeks. We're having a baby. These are facts, not up for discussion or debate. What is up for discussion is whether you want to be part of our lives or not. Part of your lives. Mrs. Park stood, her voice rising. You're asking me to accept this disgrace, this woman who has done nothing but cause problems. This woman has a name, Stella said quietly. And I never meant to cause problems. I fell in love with your son, that's all. Love. Mrs. Park spat the word. You trapped him. Got pregnant on purpose to secure your position. That's enough. Daewon's voice cut through the room like a knife. You will not speak to my future wife that way. Not now, not ever. Your future wife? Uncle Jin-ho shook his head. Daewon, be reasonable. Even if you care for this woman, marrying her will cause endless complications. Your business partners, your position in the community, can all go to hell if they can't accept my family. The room erupted in arguments, family members talking over each other, everyone having an opinion. Through it all, Stella stood beside Daewon, her hand in his, trying to be brave, trying not to cry. Enough! Hye-jin's voice shocked everyone into silence. All of you, just stop. You're so worried about appearances and traditions that you can't see what's right in front of you. My brother is happy. For the first time in years, he's actually happy. And you want to destroy that because of what? Pride? Prejudice? Fear of what people will say? This doesn't concern you, Mrs. Park said sharply. It concerns all of us. We're family, remember? Or does that only matter when it's convenient? Hye-jin moved to stand beside Stella. She makes him better. Kinder. More human. And if you can't see that, then you're blind. Mrs. Park looked at her daughter like she didn't recognize her. You support this? Completely. And if you force Daewon to choose between you and Stella, you're going to lose. Is that really what you want? To lose your son? The question hung in the air. Mrs. Park's face worked through several emotions: anger, hurt, fear. For a moment, Stella thought she saw something soften, but then the older woman's face hardened again. If you marry her, you're on your own, Mrs. Park said to Daewon. No more family support. No more business connections through us. You'll be cut off completely. Then I'm cut off. I can live with that. Can you live with never knowing your grandchild? Mrs. Park flinched. That had hit home. But she didn't back down. Leave. Both of you. Get out of my sight. This is my house, Mother. You're here as a guest. But if you can't be civil, you're welcome to leave. The standoff was painful to watch. Finally, Mrs. Park gathered her things and swept out, the other family members following. Only Uncle Jin-ho lingered, his expression thoughtful. Give her time, he said quietly to Daewon. She's scared of losing you. She'll come around. I hope so, but I'm not waiting forever. After they left, the house felt eerily quiet. Stella sank onto the couch, shaking. That was worse than I imagined. That was her first reaction. Let her process. Let her realize what she's losing. Daewon sat beside her, pulling her close. In the meantime, we have a wedding to plan. They decided on something small and quick. A judge, 2 witnesses, just making it legal before the baby came. Stella wished her mother could be there, but bringing her family from Uganda wasn't possible right now. Instead, she called her mother on video, told her everything. You love him? Her mother asked in Luganda, her face pixelated on the small screen. More than anything, Mama. And he treats you well? Takes care of you? He treats me like I'm precious, like I matter. Then you have my blessing. We'll meet him someday when God allows. For now, be happy, my daughter. Life is too short for anything else. The week leading up to the wedding passed quickly. Too quickly. Stella was finalizing details, her simple white dress, the flowers, the small ceremony, when the first attack came. She was at the bridal shop downtown, Hye-jin with her, when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Stella. The voice was smooth, female, familiar. Yumi. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Even if I have information about your precious Daewon, about things he's been hiding from you. I'm hanging up now. He kissed me, 2 months ago, after you left. We had dinner, and afterward, he kissed me. Did he tell you that? Stella's blood ran cold. You're lying. Am I? Ask him. Ask him about the night at the Italian restaurant downtown. Ask him if he had dinner with me, if we kissed in the parking lot. Yumi's voice was poison sweet. He was so lonely, you see, so desperate for comfort. And I was there. The call ended. Stella stood frozen, phone in her hand. Hye-jin touched her shoulder. What's wrong? Yumi called. She said Daewon kissed her, after I left. Stella looked at Hye-jin, searching her face. Is it true? I don't know. Maybe. He was a mess back then. But Stella, even if something happened, he was hurting. He thought he'd lost you forever. So, that makes it okay? To run back to his ex? No. But it makes it human. Talk to him. Get the truth, before you jump to conclusions. But the seed of doubt had been planted. When Daewon came home that evening, Stella was waiting in his office, her arms crossed. "Did you have dinner with Yumi?" she asked without preamble. "After I left?" His face told her everything before he even spoke. "Yes. Once. She showed up here, and I was weak and lonely, and I said yes to dinner. But Stella, did you kiss her?" "She kissed me. For maybe a second before I pulled away. It meant nothing. I swear it meant nothing. But you didn't tell me. In all our conversations about being honest, about facing things together, you never mentioned it. Because it didn't matter. Because it was nothing compared to what I feel for you." Daewon moved toward her, but she stepped back. "Stella, please, don't let Yumi poison what we have. You kissed your ex while I was alone and pregnant and miserable in Houston. How am I supposed to forget that? I thought I'd lost you. I thought you were gone forever. And for one weak moment, I let someone offer comfort. But the second her lips touched mine, all I could think about was you. How wrong it felt. How much I wanted you instead." Stella wanted to believe him, wanted to let it go. But the image of him with Yumi burned in her mind. "I need space. I need to think. Don't do this. Don't pull away from me again." "I'm not pulling away. I'm processing. There's a difference." She went to the guest room that night, ignoring Daewon's pleas. Lay in bed, hand on her stomach, talking to the baby. "Your father made a mistake. A small one, maybe. But it still hurts. Am I overreacting? Or am I right to be upset?" The baby kicked, a flutter of movement. Stella took it as a sign. She couldn't keep running every time things got hard. Couldn't keep doubting Daewon's love every time someone tried to tear them apart. In the morning, she went back to their room, found him awake, looking like he hadn't slept at all. "I'm sorry," she said. "I overreacted." "No, you didn't. I should have told you. Should have been honest from the start." He pulled her into his arms. "No more secrets, I promise." "No more secrets," she agreed. But Yumi wasn't done. 2 days before the wedding, Daewon was at a business meeting downtown when someone tried to kill him. A car jumped the curb outside the restaurant, aiming directly at him. Junseo pushed him out of the way at the last second, both of them rolling across the pavement. The car sped off, leaving Daewon bruised and shaken but alive. The police investigation was swift. Security cameras caught the driver's face. It was one of Yumi's employees, a man with known mob connections. "She tried to have me killed," Daewon told Stella that night, his voice cold with fury. "Because if she can't have me, nobody can." "Oh God." Stella felt her knees give out. "What if you died? What if the baby and I had lost you?" "But I didn't die. I'm here, and Yumi is going to pay for this." The confrontation happened at Yumi's office in Philadelphia. Daewon brought Junseo and 2 other men, all of them armed. Yumi was surprisingly calm when they burst into her office, like she'd been expecting them. "So you survived," she said lightly. "Pity. You tried to kill me." "I tried to solve a problem. You were supposed to be mine, Daewon. We were supposed to build an empire together. But you threw it all away for some maid who doesn't even belong in your world. Stella belongs in my world because she is my world, and you just destroyed any chance you had at redemption." Daewon pulled out his phone, showing her the screen. "I've already sent evidence to the police, video footage, financial records showing you paid the driver, text messages, all of it." Yumi's face paled. "You wouldn't. Watch me. You're going to prison, Yumi, for attempted murder. And while you're there, Stella and I are going to get married, have our baby, and build the life you tried to destroy. You're making a mistake. She'll never fit in. Your family will never accept her. Then they'll miss out. But that's their loss, not mine." The police arrived 10 minutes later. Yumi was arrested on the spot, screaming threats and accusations. Daewon watched her being led away, feeling nothing but relief. This chapter was finally closed. When he got home, Stella was in the hospital, The stress of the day, combined with the pregnancy, had sent her into early labor. She was 34 weeks along, not full term, but close enough that the doctors weren't panicking. "I'm sorry," she gasped between contractions. "I tried to wait. I tried to stay calm. But I was so scared that something had happened to you, and the stress just... Shh. I'm here. I'm fine. And we're going to meet our baby today." He held her hand through each contraction, whispering encouragement, being everything she needed. Soo-Jin Park entered the world at 11:37 that night, weighing 5 pounds and screaming with healthy lungs. She had Daewon's dark hair and Stella's warm brown skin, a perfect mix of both of them. "She's beautiful," Stella whispered, exhausted and happy. "She's perfect." Daewon held his daughter for the first time and felt his heart expand in ways he didn't know were possible. This tiny human was his and Stella's, their family. "We did it," he said, voice thick with emotion. "We survived everything, and we made this perfect little person." "We still have to get married," Stella reminded him with a tired laugh. "Can't have Soo-Jin being born before her parents' wedding. We'll get married tomorrow, right here in the hospital if we have to." And they almost did. But first, a visitor appeared. Mrs. Park, holding flowers, her face uncertain. She stopped in the doorway of Stella's room, looking at her son holding his daughter. "May I come in?" she asked quietly. Daewon looked at Stella, who nodded. Mrs. Park approached slowly, looking at the baby with wonder. "She's beautiful," Mrs. Park whispered. "She looks like you, Daewon, when you were born. She's your granddaughter, Soo-Jin. It means precious pearl." Mrs. Park's eyes filled with tears. "I was wrong about everything. I let my pride and my fears almost cost me my family. Can you ever forgive me?" The question was directed at both of them. Stella looked at this woman who had made her life hell, who had said terrible things, who had tried to tear them apart. And she saw a grandmother looking at her grandchild with love. "We can try," Stella said softly. "For Soo-Jin's sake, we can try." Mrs. Park nodded, tears falling freely now. "Thank you. Thank you for giving an old fool a second chance." That night, with their daughter sleeping peacefully and Daewon's mother finally on their side, Stella allowed herself to believe. Maybe happy endings were possible after all. Maybe love really could conquer everything. Maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. The hospital discharged Stella and Soo-Jin 3 days later with strict instructions about caring for a baby, born slightly early. Daewon had turned one of the mansion's bedrooms into a nursery. Soft yellows and whites, everything a baby could need. But he'd also set up a bassinet beside their bed, because neither of them could stand having Soo-Jin far away. "She's so tiny," Stella whispered one night, watching their daughter sleep. 2 weeks had passed since the birth. "Sometimes I'm scared to hold her too tight. She's stronger than she looks, like her mother." Daewon wrapped his arms around Stella from behind, both of them watching Soo-Jin's chest rise and fall. "We're parents now. That's still so strange to say. We're also supposed to get married tomorrow. Are you ready?" "I've been ready since the night you wore that red dress." The wedding was scheduled for the next afternoon at the courthouse. Small, simple, just what they wanted. Hye-Jin would be there, and to everyone's surprise, Mrs. Park had asked if she could attend. "Your mother wants to come," Stella had told Daewon when the request came. "After everything she said and did, now she wants to watch us get married." "Do you want her there?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to say no, to make her feel what we felt when she rejected us. But another part thinks maybe this is how we heal, by letting her in now that she's trying." They'd agreed to let Mrs. Park come, and watching her hold Soo-Jin with such gentle care had softened some of Stella's anger. Not all of it, but enough to start building bridges. The morning of the wedding, Stella woke to Soo-jin crying. She was getting better at distinguishing the different cries. Hungry, tired, needing a diaper change. This was hunger. She picked up her daughter, settling into the nursing chair by the window. "Big day today, little one," she whispered, as Soo-jin latched on. "Your parents are getting married, making everything official. You'll be there, all dressed up in that pretty white outfit Aunt Hai-jin bought." Dae-won appeared in the doorway, already showered and half-dressed in his wedding suit. "My two favorite people. How'd I get so lucky? You had to fight for it." "We both did." Stella smiled at him. "No regrets?" "Not a single one." The courthouse ceremony was perfect in its simplicity. Stella wore a cream dress that flowed around her still-healing body. Dae-won looked handsome in his dark suit. Hye-jin held Soo-jin, who slept through the entire ceremony, and Mrs. Park stood in the back, crying quietly. "Do you, Dae-won Park, take Stella Nalongo to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do, absolutely. Without question. Yes." He was supposed to just say, "I do," but nobody minded the extra emphasis. "Do you, Stella Nalongo, take Dae-won Park to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Stella looked at the man who'd fought his family for her, who'd searched for her when she ran, who held their daughter like she was made of glass. "I do. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." The kiss was soft and sweet, a promise of forever sealed in front of witnesses. When they pulled apart, Soo-jin chose that moment to wake up and cry, making everyone laugh. "Welcome to married life," Hye-jin said, handing over the baby, "where romantic moments get interrupted by dirty diapers." The reception was at the mansion, again, small, just close family, and a few friends. But the atmosphere was different from any gathering they'd had before. Lighter. Happier. Mrs. Park actually talked to Stella, asked about the baby, offered advice about motherhood. "I know I have a long way to go to earn your forgiveness," Mrs. Park said quietly during a rare moment alone. "But I want you to know I'm trying. Seeing you with Dae-won, seeing him happy, seeing Soo-jin, it opened my eyes. Family isn't just blood, it's love. And you love my son. That matters." "Thank you for saying that," Stella replied, bouncing Soo-jin gently. "I know this hasn't been easy for you. Letting go of expectations. Accepting someone so different from what you imagined for Dae-won. Different doesn't mean wrong. I'm learning that." Mrs. Park reached out tentatively. "May I hold her?" Stella handed over her daughter and watched Mrs. Park's face transform. The hard lines softened. The cold eyes warmed. This was a grandmother holding her granddaughter, and in that moment, all the tension of the past months seemed to melt away. But not everything was perfect. That evening, after the guests had left and Soo-jin was asleep, Dae-won's phone rang, a business call that made his face darken. "What's wrong?" Stella asked when he hung up. "The trial date for Yumi has been set. 3 months from now. Her lawyers are arguing she was mentally unstable, trying to get the charges reduced. Will it work? I don't know. But she's out on bail. And according to my contact, she's been making threats, saying we haven't seen the last of her." Stella felt cold fear creep up her spine. She's dangerous. What if she comes after Soo-jin? After us? I've already increased security. Guards at all entrances. Cameras everywhere. Nobody gets near our family without going through me first. He pulled her close. "I won't let anything happen to either of you. I promise." But promises couldn't control everything. 2 weeks later, Stella received a letter. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakably feminine. Inside was a single photo of Soo-jin, taken somehow from outside the mansion through a window. On the back, one sentence, "Beautiful baby. Would be a shame if something happened to her." Stella couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just clutched the photo and screamed for Dae-won. He took one look at the letter and made 3 phone calls. Within an hour, Yumi was back in custody, her bail revoked for threatening witnesses and victims. "She's gone," Daewon assured Stella that night as she refused to let Soo-jin out of her arms. "She's in jail. She can't hurt you. Can't hurt our baby." How did she get that photo? How did someone get close enough to take it? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. And whoever helped her is going to regret it. The investigation revealed one of the household staff had been bribed, a young man who cleaned the grounds, who'd seemed so harmless. He was fired immediately, and charges were pressed. But the damage was done. Stella couldn't relax anymore. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. "I can't live like this," she told Hye-jin one afternoon. They were in the nursery, Soo-jin playing on a mat while Stella watched her like a hawk. "I'm terrified all the time. Terrified someone will hurt her." Yumi is locked up. The trial is in 2 months, and she's going away for a long time. What if she has more people working for her? What if there are others we don't know about? Then we deal with them. But Stella, you can't let fear control you. Soo-jin needs a mother who's present, not paralyzed by what-ifs. Easier said than done. But slowly, with therapy and medication for her anxiety, Stella started to heal. Started to trust the security measures Daewon had put in place. Started to believe they might actually be safe. Meanwhile, another complication arose from an unexpected quarter. Stella's mother called one evening, her voice urgent. "Your brother needs surgery," she said in Luganda, speaking fast. "His appendix. But we don't have the money. The hospital wants payment up front." How much? The amount was staggering by Ugandan standards, but manageable for Stella now. She immediately said she'd send it, not even thinking twice. But when she told Daewon, he surprised her. "I'll cover it. All of it. Consider it a wedding gift to your family." "That's too much. You've already done so much. They're my family now, too. Your brother needs help. We help him. That's what families do." The gesture touched Stella deeply. When her mother called back to confirm the money had arrived, she asked to speak to Daewon directly. "Thank you," Stella's mother said in heavily accented English. "Thank you for taking care of my daughter, for loving her, for being a good man." "It's my honor to love her," Daewon replied, "and I hope someday we can meet in person. I want to thank you for raising such an incredible woman." After the call, Stella cried happy tears for the first time in weeks. "You didn't have to do that. Talk to my mother. Pay for my brother's surgery." "Yes, I did. Because that's what you do for family. And your family is my family now." The trial came and went. Yumi was convicted on multiple charges: attempted murder, making threats, bribery. She was sentenced to 15 years with the possibility of parole after 10. The day the verdict came down, Stella felt a weight lift from her shoulders. "It's over," she whispered to Daewon that night. "She's really gone. We're really safe." "We're safe," he agreed, holding both her and Soo-jin. "And we're going to build the most amazing life. For all of us." Soo-jin was 6 months old when Mrs. Park made an unexpected announcement. "I'm moving to Baltimore, permanently. I want to be close to my granddaughter." The news was both wonderful and terrifying. Having Mrs. Park nearby meant help with the baby and a chance to really heal their relationship. But it also meant potential interference and the return of old tensions. "We'll make it work," Daewon said when Stella expressed her concerns. "My mother is trying, really trying, and Soo-jin deserves to know her grandmother." Mrs. Park bought a condo 10 minutes away, close enough to visit but far enough to give them space. And to everyone's surprise, she became an involved, loving grandmother. She babysat when Stella and Daewon needed date nights, taught Stella Korean recipes, even started learning some Luganda so she could communicate with Stella's mother on video calls. "Who are you, and what did you do with my actual mother?" Daewon joked one afternoon, watching Mrs. Park sing to Soo-jin in Korean. "I'm a woman who almost lost everything because of pride," Mrs. Park replied seriously. "I won't make that mistake again. This family is precious, worth more than any tradition or expectation." The transformation was real and lasting. Slowly, painfully, beautifully, they were becoming a real family. Not perfect, but real. With history and hurt, but also hope and healing. One evening, as Stella rocked Soo-jin to sleep, she thought about how far they'd come. From a maid in a red dress to a wife and mother. From forbidden love to legitimate family. From hiding in shadows to standing in the light. "We made it," she whispered to her sleeping daughter. "Through everything, we made it. And you're going to grow up knowing that love is worth fighting for. That family is worth the struggle. That happy endings do exist, even if they take longer, and look messier than the stories say." Soo-jin's only response was a soft, baby snore. But Stella felt like her daughter understood. Like somehow, this tiny human knew that her very existence was proof that love could conquer all. Even Korean mafia bosses and their disapproving mothers. Even exes and betrayals and fears. Even the vast differences between a girl from Uganda and a man from a powerful family. Love had conquered, and they were living proof. 5 years had passed since the red dress night that changed everything. Stella stood in front of the bathroom mirror in their Washington, D.C. hotel suite, adjusting her wedding dress for the second time. Yes, the second time. Because while they'd gotten married legally at the courthouse 5 years ago, today was their real wedding. The one with both families present. The celebration they'd never gotten to have. "You look beautiful," Hyejin said from the doorway. "Ready? Nervous? Is that normal when you've already been married to someone for 5 years? Considering what you've both been through? Completely normal." Hyejin moved into the room, helping with the final touches. "My mother is downstairs crying already. Happy tears for once." Stella smiled. Mrs. Park had become an unexpected blessing. After that first rocky year, their relationship had deepened into genuine affection. The older woman had been there for Soo-jin's first steps, first words, every milestone. And when Stella had given birth to their son, Tae-jin, 2 years ago, Mrs. Park had moved into the mansion for 2 weeks to help. "And my mother?" Stella asked. "Is she okay?" "Your entire family is here, and they're overwhelming my brother with love. Your mother keeps hugging him and blessing him in Luganda. It's adorable." Getting Stella's family to America had been a 2-year process, but Daewon had made it happen. Visas for everyone. Her mother, her 3 younger siblings, her aunt. Plane tickets, hotel rooms, everything. Because this wedding was about bringing 2 families together, not just 2 people. "I should check on Soo-jin," Stella said, suddenly nervous. "Make sure she's ready. And Tae-jin, is someone watching him? You know how he gets into everything. Soo-jin is with your sister, looking like a perfect little princess. And Tae-jin is with Uncle Jin-ho, probably being spoiled rotten. Everything is under control." Hyeo-jin took Stella's hands. "Just breathe. Enjoy this. You've earned it." The venue was perfect. A historic building with high ceilings and large windows overlooking the city. The decoration was a beautiful blend of Korean and Ugandan traditions, red and gold silk alongside bright African prints, traditional drums next to string instruments, 2 cultures celebrating together. Stella walked down the aisle to a mix of Korean and Ugandan music, her mother on one side and Uncle Jin-ho on the other, a compromise that represented both families. At the end of the aisle stood Daewon, looking devastatingly handsome in his traditional Korean wedding attire. Beside him stood their 2 children. Soo-jin, now 5 years old, took her flower girl duties very seriously. Tae-jin, only 2, kept waving at people in the crowd. When Stella reached the altar, Daewon took her hands, and she saw tears in his eyes. "We're really doing this," he whispered. "Again," she whispered back with a smile. The ceremony was bilingual, with parts in English, Korean, and Luganda. They'd written their own vows this time, wanting to express everything they'd learned in 5 years of marriage. Daewon spoke first, his voice steady despite the emotion. "Stella, 5 years ago I married you in a courthouse because I couldn't wait another day to call you my wife. Today, I marry you again in front of everyone we love because I want the world to witness how proud I am to be yours. You've taught me that love isn't about finding someone from the right background or the right family. It's about finding someone who makes you want to be better. Someone who sees your flaws and loves you anyway. Someone who fights for you, even when you don't deserve it." He paused, looking at their children. "You gave me Soo-jin and Tae-jin. You gave me a family I didn't know I needed. You challenged my mother and somehow turned her into your biggest supporter. You learned Korean, even though it's the hardest language in the world. You let me learn Luganda, even though I'm terrible at it. You took a chance on a man whose world was complicated and dangerous, and you didn't run when things got hard." His voice cracked. "Well, you ran once, but you came back. And I promise you, for the rest of my life, I'll make sure you never want to run again. I'll make sure every day you know how loved you are, how valued, how essential you are to everything good in my life. I love you, Stella, today, tomorrow, and every day after." There wasn't a dry eye in the building. Stella's mother was weeping openly. Mrs. Park was dabbing at her eyes with a handkerchief. Then it was Stella's turn. She took a shaky breath. "Daewon, when I walked into your mansion 5 years ago as a maid, I never imagined this would be my life. I was just trying to make enough money to help my family back home. I wasn't looking for love. I definitely wasn't looking for a Korean mafia boss who would turn my world upside down." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Daewon smiled. "But you saw me. Really saw me. Not just the maid in the background, but me. Stella. The woman who sang while she worked and dreamed bigger dreams than her circumstances suggested. You made me believe I deserved more than I'd settled for. You fought your family for me, risked your business for me, searched for me when I was too scared to stay." She squeezed his hands. "You taught me that real love doesn't give up. It doesn't run when things get hard. It fights. It persists. It chooses to show up every single day. You've shown up for me every day for 5 years. When I was pregnant and scared, you were there. When your ex tried to destroy us, you protected us. When I doubted myself, you reminded me of my worth. And when I needed space to grow, you gave it to me without question." Tears ran down her face. "You flew my entire family here so I could have this moment. You learned to cook my mother's recipes. You let Soo-jin have both Korean and Ugandan names. You're raising our children to know both cultures, to be proud of both sides of their heritage. You don't just love me, Daewon. You love all of me. My family. My culture. My past. And that's the greatest gift anyone could give." She looked at their children, then back at him. "I promise to keep choosing you. Keep fighting for us. Keep building this beautiful, complicated, multicultural family we've created. I love you. In Korean, in Luganda, in English. I love you in every language that exists, and some that don't." The officiant had to wait for people to stop crying before continuing. When they finally exchanged rings, new ones, with inscriptions in both Korean and Luganda, the whole room erupted in applause. "I now pronounce you, again, husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Again." The kiss was deep and long and absolutely inappropriate for a ceremony with children present. Soo-jin made a disgusted face. Tae-jin clapped. The crowd cheered. The reception was everything they'd wanted. Tables full of food from both cultures. Korean bulgogi next to Ugandan matoke, kimchi beside groundnut sauce. 2 cakes, one traditional white wedding cake, one rich Ugandan fruit cake. Music that had people doing Korean fan dances 1 minute and African dances the next. Daewon's speech came during dinner. He stood, microphone in hand, looking around at the gathered families. I want to thank everyone for coming today. I know for some of you, this was a long journey. Stella's family traveled over 7,000 miles to be here, and I know my own family had their own journey, not in distance, but in acceptance. He looked at his mother, who smiled through tears. My mother taught me about honor and tradition. She raised me to value family above all else. But she also taught me something she didn't intend, that sometimes the greatest honor is in choosing love over expectation, in expanding your definition of family rather than limiting it. Mrs. Park stood and walked to the microphone. She took it from Daewon, surprising everyone. I need to say something. 5 years ago I was wrong, about everything. I judged Stella based on where she came from instead of who she was. I cared more about appearances than my son's happiness. I almost destroyed the best thing that ever happened to him. She turned to Stella. You have been patient with an old woman's stubbornness. You've let me be a grandmother even when I didn't deserve it. You've taught me that love doesn't see color, or class, or country. It just sees hearts, and your heart is beautiful. Thank you for loving my son. Thank you for giving me grandchildren. Thank you for showing me what family really means. The 2 women hugged, and if anyone had told Stella 5 years ago this would happen, she would have laughed. But here they were, crying together. Family. Stella's mother spoke next, her English halting, but her meaning clear. In Uganda, we have saying, a tree cannot stand without roots. Stella is my tree. Daewon is her roots now. Together, they make forest, strong, beautiful, full of life. She raised her glass. To my daughter and my son, may your forest grow forever. The toasts continued. Hye-jin told embarrassing stories about Daewon as a child. Stella's sister talked about how Stella used to dream of adventure. Friends shared memories. Throughout it all, Soo-jin sat at the head table looking important, and Tae-jin ran around making friends with everyone. During the dancing, Daewon pulled Stella close for their official first dance. The song was a Korean ballad that had been translated into English, meaningful to both of them. Remember when we danced in the kitchen at 3 in the morning because Tae-jin wouldn't sleep? Daewon murmured against her hair. Remember when Soo-jin walked in on us kissing and asked if you were eating Mommy's face? He laughed. Remember the first time I told you I loved you and you cried for an hour? Remember when you proposed the second time with an actual ring, and I said yes before you even finished asking? They swayed together, 5 years of memories flowing between them. Not all of them good. There had been fights and fears and moments of doubt. But all of them had led to this. To a family built on choice rather than obligation. To love that had survived every test. Later in the evening, as things were winding down, Daewon found Stella on the balcony overlooking the city. She was alone, having snuck away for a moment of peace. Hiding from your own wedding? He asked, coming up behind her. Just taking it all in. 5 years ago, I was a maid in a red dress trying to feel beautiful for one night. Now I'm here, married to you for real, with 2 children and 2 families that finally get along. It feels like a dream. It's real. We made it real. He wrapped his arms around her waist, his hand settling on her still flat stomach. And we're not done yet. Stella turned in his arms. What do you mean? I mean Soo-jin wants a sister. Tae-jin needs someone closer to his age. And I was thinking, are you seriously suggesting another baby at our wedding reception? I'm saying I want everything with you. More babies, more memories, more years of figuring this out together. He kissed her softly. What do you say? Want to keep building this crazy, beautiful life? Stella pretended to think about it. Well, I do love you, and you do make pretty cute babies. Is that a yes? That's a, let's see what happens. She pulled him closer. But ask me again in 5 years at our 10-year vow renewal. Deal. They stood there, wrapped in each other, watching the city lights twinkle below. Inside, their children were being entertained by both sets of grandparents. Their families were laughing together, sharing stories, building bonds. Everything they'd fought for was finally, beautifully, completely theirs. Forever starts now, Daewon whispered. Forever started 5 years ago, Stella corrected. This is just the celebration we finally get to have. And as they walked back inside to rejoin their celebration, their future stretching bright and hopeful before them, Stella knew with absolute certainty that every fight, every tear, every moment of doubt had been worth it. Because this family, this love, this life, was everything she'd ever wanted, and more than she'd ever dared to dream. Thank you so much for watching this love story unfold. If you enjoyed watching Stella and Daewon's journey from that red dress encounter to their happily ever after, please hit that subscribe button. We have more romance stories coming your way. Drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from and whether you think love can really conquer all. See you in the next story.